My name is Melissa King. I'm the new CEO of Coldwell Banker American Homes.
I've been replaced. Tom's going to like that one. It's like, wait, I got rid of Mike and I got Melissa. Hey, this is Mike Litzner, your host of the Work Hard, Play Hard, and Give Back, a real estate podcast. We're here at the studio at American Homes in Mount Sinai. And today's guest, we have Melissa King, COO of the OneKey MLS. Welcome to the show, Melissa.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I just want to remind our audience before we start, if you like what we're doing here today, just like, subscribe. We'd love to have you at many of our upcoming episodes. Also, don't forget to stay for the Drop the Mic question. We always have a lot of fun at the end here. So Melissa, you've had a little bit of a commute to get here, right? From Orlando to Long Island here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, planes, trains, and automobiles.
Whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for our audience, right? Some of it, we got a lot of agents and licensed people. We also have people who are just interested in real estate. So MLS, they hear the word MLS. Can you just give them a little depth on what MLS is?
I can. So interestingly, before I started working for an MLS, I didn't even know what it was. It was Major League Soccer.
Right.
But we are the listing database, right, that within our coverage area, which is Long Island and then up in the lower Hudson Valley, where realtors and licensees, they put their listing information into our platform, and then they're able to run searches and collaborate with their clients. And I think for a consumer, most frequently, the way they understand it is when you look at different major search portals,
Right.
Those portals have to get their data from somewhere, and 99.9% of the time, it is the MLS.
Yes, it is. Now, the OneKey MLS, it is one of the largest in the country. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think we're about number 10 or 11.
Okay.
Yep. So we support about 42,000 licensees.
Wow. Do you know how many companies that are supported as well?
Roughly 4,500, give or take.
Yeah. So it covers a tremendous geographic area, right?
Yes.
Obviously, Long Island by itself being a pretty robust population, to say the least, right?
Yeah, Long Island, I believe, makes up about 2/3 of our subscribers.
Okay. Good. So, Melissa, can you just say or talk to us a little bit? What is a day in the life of the COO of OneKey MLS look like?
Oh gosh, every day is different.
Yeah.
And I don't want to cop out on the answer, but it's anything from working with my my board of managers and doing preparation. A lot of things, the escalations come up through me.
Right.
So any issues that we're experiencing, whether they are system issues or compliance issues or industry issues, new litigation that's hit, it tends to all come across my desk. So every single day is different.
What's been a bigger challenge the last couple of years? Technical issues or legal issues?
Yes.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
And sometimes there's an intersection between the two. It's the technology changes that we have to make to support the different legal things that are coming through. But, I'd say certainly at OneKey the last 3 years, it's been a huge mix. We know we had the NAR settlement, which we all had to make some pretty significant changes for. But we also went through growth with the Mid-Hudson MLS, onboarding them, and then a couple of major database changes. So it's been a huge mix of all of it.
Yeah. So what is the biggest goal you would like to accomplish in your role as COO of OneKey?
Oh gosh, I have so many. I think one of the main ones is being able to provide just an ecosystem for our customers that provides a lot more interoperability, meaning to be able to say you use SkySlope.
Right.
And you want to be able to log into the MLS, and you want SkySlope and the MLS platform to be able to talk to each other.
Right.
And so you're really reducing, any dual entry, repeating a lot of the same steps.
Yeah, data entry is one of my pet peeves. I hate data entry. So.
Yes. All of that manual stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And not just with transaction management, but with any tools and solutions, having these very disparate pieces that don't work well together just creates such a terrible user experience. Your administrative overhead for things like that is increased significantly, and it just doesn't seem like that's how we should be doing business at this point.
Yeah. How big of a technical staff do you have to support? 40, what did we say, 40-something
42,000
agents? Yeah.
So technical staff is actually very small.
Okay.
So we have our support staff, which is just anything from listing administration to product support to like some very lightweight tech issues. And that team, we've been continuously growing over the last year. So we have close to about 10 people. We have another 4 that are going to be starting.
Okay.
But as far as technical staff for the products that we offer, we have 2.
Okay.
Yeah, but growing also.
Yeah. So do you look at the OneKey MLS as more of a liaison between the realtor community and, say, the vendors, the software vendors?
Yes. However,
Okay.
I think historically that's absolutely what it's been. I
Right.
think most MLSs around the country, that is what they are. I think your really great top performing MLSs have figured out how to not just curate a suite of different products, but provide through developing a tech team and
Right.
some tools and things to make people's lives easier. We actually just launched, I want to say it was last week, our Keystone dashboard, which empowers brokers to be able to go in and do some administration on their offices, on their listing distribution, and really have a lot of transparency and control over what permissions their agents have or what permissions we have for their data.
Right.
And that is, in my experience, pretty uncommon actually in MLSs to be able to invest in that way for a better, more transparent user
Yeah.
experience.
So for our audience who may understand what you said or don't know or not, no, I'm just going to relate it from the real estate side. So being a real estate broker here, when we get listings, we're charged with bringing them to market and how do we get the maximum amount of exposure. And the multiple listing allows us not only to expose it to every broker out there who may want to co-broker and work with us, put the right buyer, right seller together. That's the key to it, not selling houses to people that, aren't interested in that style, but finding the right buyer. But the other part is that third-party syndication, right? It allows us to have a vehicle, so to speak, to take our listing data and be a conduit, so to speak, to third-party portals that already have a potential market share and eyeballs on it, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's an important connector, so to speak, for the industry. So
it is, and I think what I'm really proud of that we've done recently is we have a participant agreement, which I'm sure you've seen.
Yes.
And it defines how the MLS is allowed to use your participant contribution. So all the listing information that you guys put into the service.
Right.
We can't just say, okay, we're going to do what we want with that. We're going to sell it here and we're going to send it there and we're going to be reckless with it.
Right.
So instead, within our participant agreement, it details out exactly what our uses as the MLS are with that. And anything that falls outside of what we define as the definition of MLS, right? It needs to be searchable. It needs to be able to be used in like the auto emails and things that go out. So outside of those things that define an MLS, we put those in our listing distribution dashboard. So you as a broker can say, I don't want my office participating in these syndication sites. And so it's all laid out just very, very clearly and transparently. And I don't know that another MLS in the country actually has that level of transparency with what they are doing with the participants' data.
You've worked at more than one MLS now, so you have some interesting, I always call it vantage points in the industry. So what is the most interesting thing you've learned working at an MLS or aha moment you've had along the way?
Oh, gosh. I don't know about necessarily aha moments. I think as far as interesting, it's really, I think some of it has just been the intersection of some of the legal stuff and what's going on like economically and the role that the MLS has in that. It's felt important, and so I think that has been some of the most interesting, I will say, coming to New York.
Yeah.
And so I've worked in Florida, DC, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, West Virginia.
So is it true, like it's like we say, real estate is real estate, doesn't matter where, but I think people are people
Yes.
But there feels like there's nuances in different markets, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say going from Florida up to, from Stellar MLS to Bright MLS, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of differences. And then coming to OneKey, and it's just the things that are most important, and like co-ops that you have here, which we didn't have there, the geography killed me when I first started here, because depending on if I was talking to someone from Long Island or if I was talking to someone from Westchester, you're calling geographies completely different things.
Yeah.
So it's a town, or it's a city, or it's a township, or
Wait, can I hit on one of them?
Yes.
Brooklyn. There's listings that say Brooklyn, and then when we get to the local side, it's like, okay, well, this is, Bed-Stuy, or this is,
Yep. So then, and neighborhoods. And neighborhoods actually, so the...
But there's different zip codes that go with that, yet sometimes it seems like it's all Brooklyn. So I think that's sometimes the way the software works in other areas, and it's like, okay, wait, there's nuance to these local markets.
This was the most challenging thing when doing the database conversions, was trying to accommodate that nuance, which is completely different in New York City than it is through the rest of the territory. And then even understanding, where I come from, everything's in a city, and your cities are in your counties. Right. And I come up here and it's towns. But they're called townships locally. And
well, you have towns and townships. I think it's layers of government, actually.
Yeah. So, because then you have CDPs, hamlets, villages, and trying to define each one of these. New York is very, very unique in that way.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I like it or don't like it. It's just, I don't think I know any better. I haven't done this over 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
This is what you grew up with, so you just kind of deal with it, so to speak. But,
I came in and I was like, I don't know what I'm talking about. There was a couple of fumbles, but luckily our team at OneKey, some of them who have been there 40 plus years, so they held my hand through it. And I've been really involved with an organization called the Real Estate Standards Organization. And they create standards for different property types and subtypes and different fields that we'd use, trying to have something where nationally we're all calling something by the same name. So anyone who is a subscriber of OneKey MLS, I'm sure, remembers a year ago going through a data conversion and a system conversion to be in alignment with that RISO standard. And it is kind of challenging, because you have pockets around the country like New York who, co-ops are very prevalent, but others they're not. And you have volunteer work groups that are coming together to talk about these different things. And so we've gone back since I've been at OneKey to RISO and the Data Dictionary Work Group, and have some modifications that are actually being made to the national standards so that they can work within our market.
So having standards sounds like all technical and good, except for when we create like this MLS, which is a database essentially, and then trying to use that information to streamline some of our services. So we have a third-party site called Listing Concierge that we help our agents market their listings that they can plug into, and we try to automate that data. So when you have something as simple as a just listed, just sold cards that are ordered, they don't have to type in, data entry, right? Well, what do we run into? So some orders we're going through, and then we realized we were dropping orders. And why were we dropping orders? Well, we realized that the word street. Okay, if you write the word street out, or do you put ST, which is a common abbreviation, all of a sudden, the way the agent's putting it in and the way the MLS was interpreting it with two different things, and it's non-matched. So all of a sudden, you look at these standards that need to be, adhered to or aligned might be a better word, right? And you think, okay, what's this gibberish that they're talking about? But trying to run an organization with 1,000+ agents doing, thousands of listings and trying to provide those services in a meaningful and efficient manner, what you do affects us every day and our ability to support our agents. So it's kind of interesting to see that loop close, so to speak.
And I feel that pressure regularly.
She sees me, there's the fire in his eyes again. Let me get those standards down. So
I mean, it's definitely a hard adjustment too, to have to make changes to those things, especially when you've been using the same fields for 30 years in the same MLS platform. And, going from something that it has a very, very specific meaning.
Yes.
And trying to take that and turn it into, or match it to what the national standard is, it can certainly be challenging.
Yes.
But I would say, one of the unknown benefits of that is when you have now multiple platforms they're built the same way, they use the same words, they can talk to each other, then you don't have bad translations happening, right? So what you're literally typing into the system is what comes out of the system, is what is published in all of these other products, and you don't have things that are lost in translation.
Yes.
And then you can have new vendors coming into the marketplace and only having to build the product one way and being able to work with all of these organizations.
Right.
And so that drives competition, which is great.
Yes.
Because the more competition you have, you get better products, and
quality.
B, the cost goes down.
Yes.
Because they have to compete with each other.
Correct.
And so it really, this why I love RISO and that organization is because it has such a broad industry impact.
Yeah.
And truly the beneficiaries of it, which I think oftentimes the MLSs, it creates so much more work for us.
Right.
But the people that are benefiting really at the end of the day are the brokers and vendors.
Why don't we pivot a little bit? Because I also found it interesting that you had some experience. You worked with a company we might have heard, Compass, yes. Right? So what was, working with a brokerage like Compass like?
Oh, man.
What was your role there?
Yes. Yeah, I was a director of industry relations there.
Okay. Now that sounds interesting. What does that really mean?
Yeah. So I think Compass, they were really focused on not only growing their footprint, but also with markets that they were already working with. Compass, I will say, they were a really, really great company to work for. They're very agent focused, and their agent was their customer.
Right.
And so, and they really wanted to drive adoption of their platform, right? Their compass.com site, and behind the agent login, they had, marketing stuff that was all integrated in there. But for it to work and for the agents to stay within their platform, they needed all of the MLS data. And working with MLSs can be really challenging, especially on a regional or national scale, because they don't all operate the same way. They don't all provide the same level of service or information.
Yes.
And so in many markets, I was having to work with those MLSs, and some of them teach them their own policy.
Okay.
To be able to get the data that was needed to properly power the platform, to get agents to not jump out of the platform into the MLS to get specific fields that they needed.
Yeah, the more places they have to go to complete a task, the more breakage, that happens before we get to the finish line, the task is complete. So I get that philosophy because we actually follow that here at American Homes. We want agents to stay in the platform and be able to deliver every one of their services
100%.
Single sign-on in one place.
I know I've talked to your CTO about that one.
Yes, he's pretty passionate about it,
yes.
And him and I are aligned very cleally on that.
Yeah,
so
so am I. And I'll say, I jumped to Compass from MLS because I really was I think I see how things are moving forward. I always wanted to be back in the MLS space, but I was I want to understand what it's like to work with MLSs, to know what it looks like to be better.
Right.
Because I always wanted to be a CEO one day of an MLS. So I was this is going to superpower me.
Yeah.
So I dove in head first. And so director of industry relations there, I was actually working with MLSs across most of the country. A lot of it was focused on data acquisition and compliance and policy that we wanted to lobby for the benefit of the brokerage.
Yeah.
And so then working on a national level on the policy issues. It was a lot of building, developing processes and tracking mechanisms and things, and so it was pretty fun.
What's interesting is when you talked about working with Compass, and they said they look at the agent as their customer or client.
I think I've heard that once before.
Oh, right, right. At MLS, who do you look as your customer or client?
Yeah, that I feel like that's the question that gets asked all the time.
Yeah.
At every MLS I've been at, even in conversations with CMLS, typically, so like my customer, and at one level is my two shareholders.
Okay.
So it's the Long Island Board of Realtors and it's the Hudson Gateway Association of Realtors. They own us.
Right.
Taking it down from like the 50,000 foot, I would say the broker participants are probably, because they are our participants, and then they have their licensees. But when we make decisions, I think what we're trying to do is look at how do we serve the most offices, how do we serve the most agents.
Right.
And
help the brokerages help their agents.
Right.
So you get granular to the agent one way or the other.
Right, exactly. And then how do we help the agents help their customer?
Right.
And so it really kind of like exponentially increases as we're like shareholders, their participants, their licensees, their customers.
Yeah.
And depending on what we're looking at and what we're doing, like different ones have to kind of, I'm going to say take priority, but you know, when we're dealing with litigation or like some of the changes that are going on in the industry, like we really had to put our consumer hats on. Yeah. And which is different than when we're looking at our operating agreement. Right. Because then we have our shareholder hat on. Yeah. So, really it kind of depends on what the issue is.
Yeah. So maybe speaking of that, you know, as the COO of OneKey, what is your team's top priority as of right now? What's on your front burner?
So right now, I hate to admit this, we have a few projects we're just trying to get pushed out by the end of the year, things that have been in the backlog. So those just kind of need to get done. As far as like where our heart and spirit of the company are, we are working with our board of managers. We're going to have a long meeting next month and really start talking to them a little bit about what that vision looks like. They have been, my board of managers has been amazing and supportive. Such a great team. And I think, you know, their primary focus is how do we stabilize to the best of our ability and just really, really focus on what's going to most benefit our customers, our agents, and participants. So I think a lot of that is going to look like less onboarding new products and more focusing on better integrations and control and user experience.
Good. As a broker, I like that better because I feel like we already have our products, so to speak, and we want them to integrate with the data more cleanly, more consistently, more efficiently. And you know, if there's brokers out there that don't have tech, then they need to keep up and invest in it. You know, they shouldn't be waiting for the board to invest for them.
So it's interesting. When I came into MLS 15 years ago, and I kept hearing, like, we leveled the playing field. And I think it was sometimes misinterpreted. Like, that doesn't mean everyone should only have access to this set of products to be able to use.
Right.
It's access to the same information, right? And we're a level foundation, and you should be able to build on that.
Correct.
Whatever you want, and that's what's going to give you your competitive edge.
Right.
And so, to me, it's how do we build or provide a foundation where you have the access to the information you want and the integration abilities to where you can build a skyscraper, if that's what you want.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Whatever's going to most effectively help you build your own business.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So I like that. Where do you feel the next major technology shifts in the real estate industry is going to be? 12 months, 18 months?
I think we're probably in it, truthfully. And I think it's just going to continue. It's going to be such a rapid development with AI and the role of AI. And I think literally to every aspect of what we do in our business. So, I mean, from the agents, I know we talked about agents having fear that it's going to replace them. Right now, we had just gone through this big hubbub with ChatGPT having an integration with Zillow. And being able to do that search and whether or not that should be allowed, or if it's viewed as an app, or if they're replicating the data. I'm like, this is just the first of what we're going to see over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think the industry point is like we're feeding our data into the MLS. Zillow, which is licensed in all 50 states, but it's really just a portal. It's not a real estate brokerage. Is taking our data and now feeding it out to a third-party app. Are they hurting us? Are they competing with us in an unfair way with our data? It's our data license, not theirs, and we just want to make sure. We touched on this a little bit earlier. What are they doing with the data?
Yeah.
Every other broker has the same license to use the data in their constructive way at the end of the day to transact real estate on behalf of their fiduciary clients, right? So, but Zillow's not really using the data that way. So,
well, and so what I will say, they are a participant of ours, and they do, yeah. So,
but not traditional brokerage. Yeah, I'm
correct,
not picking on them. I'm observing, by the way. So that's what we do. We talk real estate, and these are the things that keep us up at night as well, right?
Yeah.
As brokers and stuff.
No,
so.
mine, I just want to be careful what I say, because,
Fair enough. Yeah.
Very untraditional brokerage. And so we had to look, we spent so much time on how are they using the data? Is this outside of the license agreement? And I don't even, honestly, at the end of the day, I don't even know if I can access it through ChatGPT today.
Yeah.
So
that was only announced about 3 months ago, so 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So I bet you they had some ideas, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes before you get to the promised land. So
yeah. Yep.
So it's funny. Everything I've been at recently for the last 6 months, AI has been on the top of the tongue, so to speak. So much so that we've launched for our agents as part of our platform. We have the Google Gemini Pro account for every one of our agents.
Oh, nice.
And agents are responding pretty good. Agents do not like change, as you know. You've probably seen this, right? They do not like change, and so as we've been talking about this, the interesting quote I've heard, I can't remember who I can attribute this to, and I'm going to try to not mess it up, but they said that agents shouldn't be worried about being replaced by AI. But what they should be concerned about is being replaced by agents who've used and embraced AI. So agents who don't use AI will be replaced by agents that do use AI.
Yep.
And so we said, okay, we need to be leaning into this and understanding how to use AI to create more efficiencies and seamlessness. To better quality, increase quality control, increase speed. Whether it's speed to lead, speed to respond, to follow up in every way possible. So we're getting some really creative functionality out of it. It's interesting when you give it to agents, and once you can get them to drop their guard a little bit.
Yeah.
Agents can be really creative when they let themselves be.
Yeah. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
So, We're going through it too, and just seeing how we can integrate AI to create more efficiencies. And for us, it's if we can create these efficiencies here, we can provide better service there. Right. So not trying to automate, ourselves out of having a support center, trying to automate ourselves into a position where our support center can really spend, rather than just let me answer your question real quick, let me provide you a micro training and see if you have any other questions, and let you know, additional information around the thing that you're asking about, and just, be more of a partner instead of just a call center.
No, I like that. I'm curious to see. I'm kind of anxious to see where this goes and stuff.
Oh, yeah, same.
Yeah. So you have a unique passion for the data side of real estate, right? So was there a moment when you realized that was your true calling or something?
I think there were probably two. The first one, it had to be somewhere around maybe 2012. And so Zillow, they were a portal at the time. They used to get their data from a company called ListHub.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a decision was made that they were no longer going to get the data from ListHub, but they were going to get it directly from MLSs. And MLSs across the country had to turn this around really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't think too many of them were really proficient with working with data at the time and configuring account access. And so it was this big puzzle because it wasn't working properly.
Yeah.
And somehow, and there was a email chain going back and forth with our leadership team and the team at Zillow, and I got copied on it. And I don't think I was supposed to be, but I read through it, and I was managing membership at the time, and I was like, I think I figured it out. And so I was so nervous, but I replied to everyone on the thread, and I was like, I think I got it. And I explained what I thought it was, and was like, can you try this? And I did.
Yeah.
And it was so rewarding. And I realized, like, on this read with a group of people whom I respected, and I was like, these are very intelligent people, and I figured it out. And, that feels good. Like, I love doing things I'm good at. So, that was the first step. And the second one, I got thrown into the deep end to map our entire MLS database, which was about 7,300 values. And I was told, go pull our metadata. And I was like, cool, I don't know what metadata is. And so I had to kind of fumble through it. Yeah. And once I did that and I fumbled through it, I realized I knew our system better than anyone at that point. Because I literally touched every single value under every single field, under every single property type. And like that knowledge was so empowering.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, this is all based on data.
Yeah.
And so it was those two moments.
They always say you have a calling. Yours was an email, but but isn't it funny how you happen to be on that thread and it opened up different doors and an opportunity for you. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that, because it really was like that was the beginning.
Yeah. Very cool. So, I really appreciate you sharing a lot of insight into the industry and really the backbone of the industry. So it's like, the consumer speaks to agents speak to brokers, and there's trainers, and everyone has idea on marketing, but it's the data that really is the backbone and fundamental of how our systems work. And I don't think most people in the industry actually even understand what that looks like. So I think that you're giving them a great insight into, another side of the business that affects their business, but they don't get to play in that side of the sandbox, so to speak. So it was really interesting. So, on our work hard, play hard part of the podcast, we also like to lean into a little bit of the play hard. We want to find out a little bit more of the fun side of Melissa and stuff. So before I jump into that, I just want to remind our audience, if you like what we're doing and what you're hearing here today, we'd love to have you at future episodes. So like, subscribe, please join us again in the future, okay? And remember, stay for the drop the mic question. So, Melissa.
Yes.
So leading it's a huge organization, the OneKey MLS. What is your go-to really move to truly unplug?
On a typical day, this is so embarrassing. Have you ever heard of paint by numbers?
Yeah.
So I will, once I get the kids to bed, I will sit at my dining room table and just do paint by numbers and listen to a book or put music on.
Yeah.
And I'm very not exciting.
Paint by numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So you realize that I like art, but I don't know if I have enough skill set to do it freehand, so I'm going to paint by numbers.
Yeah, well, so for me, it's kind of perfect because my brain, at the end of the day, it's going, and it's hard to get it to slow down. And so it doesn't super activate creative brain because I'm just following directions, but it's keeping my brain engaged enough that it's not spiraling on everything that happened that day or what I still, what I didn't get done, it helps it just kind of shut down and me decompress a bit.
Yeah, a little therapeutic, as they say, right?
Yeah,
all right, exactly. I would have lost that bet, so.
Paint
by numbers.
You would have been like, glass of wine?
Yeah, something, I don't know, Music, I don't know, somewhere along the line.
Music is always in the mix.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, very cool. So what's something you do in your free time that would surprise, anyone who only knows you professionally?
I go to a lot of music festivals.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of my jam.
Yeah.
At least a couple a year.
All right, very cool, very cool. Who's the go-to artist?
Right now, her name is Ruby Waters. She's a Canadian artist, kind of like indie alternative. But I listen to everything. Yeah, absolutely everything. So, she's been my go-to. I just saw an artist named Ethan Reagan, and I was in Austin for that one, and then a week later, Richie Mitch and the Coal Miners in Denver. So okay. I travel for music. Yeah.
All right, very cool, very cool. So if you could take a 1 week vacation anywhere in the world, where would you go?
My bed.
Staycation.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm lucky. I live in Florida.
Yeah.
So I get water and beaches and sunlight. But right now, if I were to get a 1 weeker, it would be absolutely relaxation focused. So yeah, that's why I said my bed, just somewhere where I can completely
Unplug.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Let's talk a little bit about giving back, because we have a real strong culture at American Homes that focuses on giving back. We always lean into our own foundation that we have, the Heart of American Homes Foundation. Mm-hmm. So our company typically, and our agents, with the support of our agents, raises about $100,000 a year, with 100% of that money going back into the community. So it's I always say it's housed in our offices, rent free. There's no employees. So when we say 100% of that money goes back in, that's good. And it's interesting and heartbreaking sometimes to hear the need, but it's great that we have the ability, through the generosity of our agents and our team, to make a difference, to jump in and help people. You serve on powerful industry boards like RISO and NAR. How does volunteering this time give back to the entire agent community?
Well, I mean, I think by the time I spent at RISO, it's definitely, I mentioned, we've actually brought back to that group feedback based on our market.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the changes, and it's been approved, it hasn't been implemented yet, and it's going to sound very minor, but it all makes a difference, is the elementary, middle, high school fields that we have in the system. And right now they're a single select field.
Okay.
But we know within our market, and this is brand new to me, that elementary school, you could be in one school, K through 2 or 3, and then another school through 5th grade. And so we had to build the business case, and through my involvement with RISO, like, I understand how these things work. And and that's just one little micro example, but expanding that across data standards, transport standards, and things. So it's having a voice at the table. And although, sitting on the board, my fiduciary duty is obviously to RISO, but my experience that I bring from OneKey, which the class seat that I have at RISO is for an MLS over 25,000 subscribers. So, there's an expectation that I bring my experience and knowledge and to the table. So I try and make sure I do that. Yeah. And then with CMLS is another one. It's I co-chair their Best Practices Advisory Council, and it's really taking the experience that I have as COO and at MLSs to the Council of Multiple Listing Services, so they can develop best practices to guide other MLSs around the country. Okay. And then I can take the information that I'm learning from participating in that and try and apply it to ours. So it's a big trickle down effect. Yeah.
So if you had an unlimited time or resources, so we're talking a little bit about giving back, but we want to switch this from, say, industry. What causes would you most like to, be involved in?
Oh, man. I mean, certainly anything having to do with, I would say, like, victims of domestic violence would be major one. And especially children who have suffered that, or children that are in foster care, and and even like some of the older, maybe like late teens getting ready to enter into adulthood, and because it seems like they probably don't get as much support, and that's such a pivotal point in life.
Very pivotal.
So being able to help some often overlooked people get a stronger start into the next phase of their life. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I like that. So who are some of your mentors, and how do they inspire you to grow?
I have some weird ones, because, no one will probably know who they are. So my friend Taran Tikin, he is an executive at Zillow Group, but works kind of in the background with showing time and stuff. But he was always a great mentor to me. He just huge supporter, someone I could always bounce information off of, and he was actually the one many years ago who he knew that I felt like I had a bit of a ceiling because living in Florida, working for the largest MLS in Florida.
Right.
If I wanted to grow and I had capped out there and I knew I wanted to stay in MLS, there's really nothing I could do.
Yeah.
And I have 3 kids and I cannot move. Moving is not in the cards. So, you know,
we're realtors. We don't like to hear that.
No, I know. Well, I mean, second properties might be.
Hey, there we go. All right. You'll have your people call my people. We'll do lunch.
Yes. Yeah. That's why we're here.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, he told me back then, he was like, you know, one day you are going to make such a great name for yourself that there will be a company who doesn't care that you are not local. And like you will succeed. This is gonna happen. And I always think about him ever since I came to OneKey because I'm up here every month, but I don't have a physical residence here. And so he's just been wonderful and such a great supporter. I also have a MLS CEO. His name's Tim Dane, and he works at North Star MLS. And he is just one of the most out of the box thinkers.
Okay.
And he's bold. I mean, I'm biting my tongue with how I would typically explain Tim. But man, like when I'm like, hey, I've got this thing going on and I just need some like really outside of the box creative solutioning for this.
Yeah.
He's a go-to for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's time for the Drop the Mic question.
Again, I just want to remind our audience, if you like what we're doing here, please, we'd love to have you subscribe and join us for future episodes. So, all right. So, Melissa.
I mean, you've got me nervous.
I know. I always try to be a little different and what have you. So, we try not to make this real estate as focused as much, but just really more humanize our thing. So, rumor has it, well, I don't know, I think I just started the rumor, but that you have a rebellious side.
Oh, God.
What's the most rebellious thing you've ever done?
I can't say that. Oh, God.
It's like, is this being recorded?
Yeah. I'm trying to, I was a messy teen. So, yeah. I mean, I think anyone who met me and if they were to look at me and they had to take a guess, like I have a lot of tattoos.
Okay.
Like my arms, my entire back.
Okay.
So I mean, I would say like from a very obvious aesthetic. I've got lots of tattoos. That's it. That's as bad as it gets.
That's as bad as it gets. All right, well, that's not too bad. That's too. I'm tatless. So what inspires the endeavor into tattoos?
It wasn't, I never had this goal of like, oh, I just want to be covered. It was, I got my first one at 15, which is dumb.
Right.
And so I got that. I got my second one at 18. They've both been covered since then.
Okay.
And you know, when you cover tattoos, you have to do it with a bigger tattoo.
Okay.
And that's So it just kind of snowballed. And I realized more recently in life that getting tattoos when you're going through like a pretty significant emotional event, probably not the best time. And so and then I was like, I just want to be decorated with something that I like looking at, that I enjoy. So like I have a Picasso painting on this arm. And,
all right, very cool.
So I like pretty things.
Okay, there you go. So it's good. Well, you've been a great guest. I love that you shared so much insight in the industry from a different perspective than our agents and a lot of brokers are used to seeing. So I really appreciate you taking the time, traveling all the way from Orlando, Florida, to sunny downtown Mount Sinai, New York. Is Melissa King. You've been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.